Boy. I'm done now. What's going on, my gods and boys and more boys? Today, I'm going to talk about a game that I literally just finished, and that is God of War. No, we're not talking about that dusty old PS2 game. We're talking about Big Bad 2018 Game of the Year, PS4 exclusive, Sony. Eat your goddamn heart out, God of War. And if you still don't know which one I'm talking about the one with old man Kratos, young buck Atreus, and their quest to spread some ashes. It's a epic quest motivation, I know. So I actually had no idea what the fuck I was getting into with this game. I played like half of the God of War games. 1 and 2 are like some of my favorite games ever. The other games I played, 3 I still haven't yet. Ascension, played that, not a big fan. And the mobile games, still getting around to those. But I had to get my hands on this game. The reception for it was crazy. It looks so beautiful. I was so curious, and now that I finally have finished it, oh boy, have I got some things to say about it. But boy, I do not like how the reception of this game has changed the dialogue about God of War games. God of War games are fucking dumb. They're super fucking fun, and there's some really offensive shit in there. And yet, for some reason that this game has come out now, the discussion is just to shit on all the old God of War games. Do you know how many reviews for this game I've started, and it's like, oh,
Kratos back in the day had no sort of affection or anything, and he was a one-dimensional, goofy guy who had mini-games of sex and the violence and the
good fucking God. He already had a child. He already had a whole backstory that was very similar to this. He showed a lot of goddamn emotion. Imagine if Atreus died, the kind of fucking rampage he'd be on. That already happened. That was all of God of War 1 and God of War 2 and God of War 3. Like, this man sure didn't have a bunch of layers to his character, but I will be damned if someone shits on the epic yet simple Greek story, because our Greek stories are fucked up, so it's okay if it's a fucked up story. The original plot of the original games. I'm very sick of people shitting on it, basically. And I'll be honest, the first couple hours of this game were dragging for me, man. I originally was gonna title this game something on the lines of God of War isn't as good as you think it is. God of War is not Game of the Year. I was gonna name it something like that. Because I'll be honest, the first couple hours of this game were exactly what I expected. It was The Last of Us, but now with Kratos as an old man. It was very, very dumb gimmick, I thought. And the fighting, it wasn't nearly as fun as it used to be. The new axe mechanic was something to get used to. And you were just battering the same enemies. Sure, they'd get harder, but if you keep spamming the same moves, you're just gonna beat all of them. And when it does get hard, it gets cheap hard, you know, and you have to boost all your equipment and all your fucking weapons and shit. And it's not as fun anymore to boost your equipment because I don't like getting all these minerals and bullshit. And a lot of the little artifacts you gotta find just wasn't really worth it. I wasn't having a whole lot of fun during the first couple hours of this game is basically what I'm trying to say. But if there is a game that was a slow burn that slowly burned a warm comfort into my heart, this is the game. Basically, how I felt about Atreus is how I felt about this entire game. During the first couple hours, Atreus is a little bit whiny, it's a little bit annoying. He's kind of what I expected. The actor that got to play him wasn't that great, and he was not doing that much for me. He was just kind of doing his thing. And then slowly, the subtle story, which is much better than the actual story, just going on boat rides with Atreus and getting to know him and actually being able to react to him. And Kratos obviously has gone through this whole evolution, and the new form of Kratos is a lot more interesting, and to be able to pick his brain via Atreus was really something. What I didn't like about Atreus is that basically he was a video game narrator half the time. He constantly would tell me things that don't make sense for a 10-year-old boy to know, and completely leading me right towards where I needed to go to, constantly being the fucking video game developer's voice telling me what I need to do and where to go, and oh, did you check that booby trap over there or some shit like that? Atreus, shut the fuck up. Let me play my own video game. That being said though, Atreus and another character named Mir, who is added later, they are such a great addition to this quest, because normally during the God of War games, you're just dodge rolling through these Greek architects. You're just kind of listening to the epic music and sounds of death, and it's a good game, but after a while you kind of want something lively to happen. You want more story. You want more to know what's going on in Kratos' head, and this game finally delivered on that in full. There's not a quiet moment in this game. And to finish my little thing about Atreus, by the end of this game, he completely lives up to everything you would want him to live up to be. Towards the beginning of this game, I was like fighting this guy who you get to fight later, and Atreus, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get out of here. And then by the end of this game, I was like, what the fuck, Atreus? What are you doing? Fucking murder this guy with me. He was jumping off my back, shooting arrows, and I was just like, this is so fucking cool. You are the most fucking cool kid I will ever have, even though I don't have a kid. But Atreus was the perfect foil for this Kratos, this version of Kratos, and by the end of the game, I love this kid. And Kratos, he's not the vengeful madman he was in the past games. He's actually grown since then. He's actually very guilty for a lot of things he did, which I felt, you know, wasn't completely necessary. It makes it feel like he definitely is this more modern day, don't want to offend anybody kind of hero. Like, he's very arguably just a good guy who's seen the error of his ways. And I'm like, dude, fuck you. You can't just be a little bit sad now and now all your crimes are wishy-washed away. Like, fuck that. But just his subtle actions, his grunts, the way he talks to Atreus, boy, everything about him, his performance from the voice actor, all of it was spectacular. Kratos, one of my favorite video game characters of all time, and that has only been expanded upon in this game. I'm not going to be the guy who says, oh my god, they really made this character something now. He was something before, and now he has this whole other layer, and it's all the more special. I still think this game is just marketing to fucking dads. Like, oh, you like God of War? Well, you're probably an old father now, so you'll like this Last of Us kind of Walking Dead game. But now it's a boy. Like, I hate that I feel that coming from this game. Like, I definitely feel like when The Last of Us came out, and that's around the time the last God of War came out, that they definitely stole some ideas, and they definitely stole some tones, and if The Last of Us didn't exist, I feel like this game would be very different. But as far as the gameplay goes, this game fucking rocks. I actually enjoyed a lot of the kind of traversing through this world. It's an open world game now, but it's a very enclosed open world game. It's not like you're just gonna run into a bunch of random places. Every place looks really cool. Even the places that are optional to go to feel like main mission, full budget games. And it's not like your shitty open world games where like half the map is cool and the other half is really cool. No, every area in this game is an epic set piece with epic things all around. You feel like you could enter photo mode at any point. The customizable outfits are all great. The other character designs, Freya, Baldur, a lot of the enemy designs look really cool. But I will say that's kind of where the gameplay falls, is when you're doing the same fights, a lot of the bosses, the God of War epic fights from before, they're dead. Now you're just kind of refighting the same different skins of the same monsters, and it gets old after a while. Despite how enthralled I was with the story, I wanted this game to end. It was dragging its feet, and the more it dragged its feet, the harder the enemies became, and it was annoying ass enemies that I already knew how to beat. They were just being so fucking annoying now with their tactics that it was just pissing me off. And the more and more that it frustrated me, the more and more that I was being frustrated with the game. There was a moment I turned the difficulty down to easy, and I've never done that for a God of War game before, not even for the trials of whatever that fucking elevator in God of War Ascension was. I found all of that in past games relatively fun and relatively easy. This game was difficulty in the wrong ways, and I know New Game Plus and all the different ways you can explore this game probably are more, I'll give it that it probably has more going on for it than I'll give it credit for, but that being said, there's a lot to be desired. But god damn it, did I fucking love the ending to this game. The original God of War is one of my favorite endings of all time, and this new God of War game only improves upon that. I think it's probably one of, if not my favorite video game ending of all time, because I got such goosebumps from this ending. It was a perfect ending, not only because it captured everything that the game had, but it also was subtle in the perfect of ways. It captured both the characters and their best versions of themselves, and there is a twist. It is a beautiful twist, and it implied that there's going to be more content from this universe, and god damn it, do I want that content now. Does this game deserve to be Game of the Year? I mean, it's the best game I've played out of 2018 so far. It is not as great as maybe some people made it out to be, but the more I thought about it, I just kept enjoying it. It's not a game that I think I'm going to defeat all the 9 Valkyries and do all the little things for. I did not like the game that much, but the core of what this game is, the story, which I'll be honest, blew me away more than I thought it would. All of that made this a really unique experience, and now that I've finally got around to playing it, if I had to rate it, I would give it like a 9 out of 10. You do not know how much I struggled on that number, but the more I thought about it, I looked at my 8 out of 10s and my 9 out of 10s, and I looked at some of the 9 out of 10 games like, okay, Heavy Rain, like this is better than fucking Heavy Rain, so this has to be a 9 out of 10. I am going to leave my save file around in case I ever want to do New Game Plus, because this was a badass game that I feel like will live very well throughout the years, but I can't wait for more of this. Atreus, you better live up to your father's legacy, because it is a big one. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. That was my little video on God of War. It was a very big game, very big budget game, but it lived up to everything that I thought it would live up to and more. If you want some more video content and want me to make more God of War content, please hit me up in those comments down below. If you would like some more videos to watch, I'm sure there's something on this page that I've made. Hopefully you can watch that. And until next time, you guys are the best, and with that, I leave you. Boy!
Look like Danny Phantom in a Phantom when I come through. Flora Gucci slips at the crib with an ocean view. Panamera Porsche, pussy pink, call it Majibu.